thank you all for being here tonight. We're getting a late start on it, but we're going to move into our agenda work session. Nothing new for us, right? All right. Again, thank you for being here. This is our agenda work session, July 27th, 2017. We are attempting to build the agenda for the August 10th regular council meeting. Diane, would you have a roll call, please?
Mayor Lambert.
Here.
Vice Mayor Sewell.
Here.
Councilmember Cagle.
Here.
Councilmember Delta. Here. Councilmember Williams.
Here.
City Manager Miller.
Here.
City Attorney Litchfield.
Here. Okay, the items of old business are all going to be second reading of the various ordinances there. Kenny, if you could come forward here. So all of these things we're going to talk about in detail tonight on first reading. We'll also have public hearings for the rezonings talked about here. Kenny, you want to just kind of run through these real quick?
Yeah, just real fast. So in the last agenda session, we covered these in great detail, but the first item that will be up for first reading, not second reading on the 10th, will be to amend the zoning at 401 South Howe from residential R1 to O1 office district with 6 conditions. Those conditions are vehicle access limited to South Terrace, parking located to the side or rear of the building, paving of the front yard limited to approved access drives, no dumpsters are allowed, retain existing residential structure, all lighting should be directed inwards, not to exceed 25-foot candles at the base, and a 10-foot landscape buffer screen to be installed at the southern property line abutting the single-family residential. And that's for 401 South Howe, R1 to O1 district. The next one will be ordinance 1050, and that's to amend zoning again at 5330 Ringo Road from C2 General Commercial District to M3 Warehouse and Wholesale District. There's no conditions or criteria set forth for that. That property is looking to be turned into an indoor climate controlled storage. Item C, an ordinance to amend zoning for 1521 Burns Avenue from R1 Residential to C2 Commercial District. The only condition with this would also be a 10-foot screening or landscape buffer at the southern lot line that abuts residential. Item D would be an ordinance to amend 1028, which is the sign ordinance. Section 110, off-premise signs, subsection E, and that's spacing of signs. And that's just for your off-premise signs, changing the word same side to either side of the right of way. All
right. Of course, there will be, again, public hearings tonight on the regular agenda, but then also ample time for discussion. But if you have questions now, council, certainly feel free to ask. Okay. Looks like item E would be, again, before us on second and final reading regarding the tax rate.
Thanks, Mayor. E and F actually have to do with the budget for fiscal year 17 and 18, start July 1st, 2017 and June 30th, 2018. The rate being proposed is a rollback from 1.4227 to 1.3381. That would be E. And then F would be looking at first consideration reading of the annual budget and the tax rate for this fiscal year. So in more detail when that comes up tonight, unless you want me to start now. Wait.
All right. Okay, and moving into new business, item A would be a potential resolution to enter into agreement with CARTA for paratransit services for East Ridge.
Okay, Phil, you want to be giving a presentation to Lisa? Just to give a brief update on this, I had proposed in the budget agenda memorandum to go with an organization of SEFRA in regard to portal for disabled and senior citizens. This would be van transportation. We met with CARTA this afternoon, both Amanda Miller and myself, and they have presented a very good proposal for this, which is the paratransit services, and that's what we're going to go over. Versus
Your pleasure.
I'll let you go through the presentation that you gave us today, because this also includes kind of give them an update on the services we have now and that will be expired in the CMAQ grant and so forth. You know,
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As a follow-up to our public meeting with all of you, most recently, we rewrote some of the information. Currently, CARTA operates a CMAQ-funded commuter route service that travels from Eastgate through Ringgold Road to Camp Jordan and on to Enterprise South. That service is funded through the summer of 2018. The approximate allocated cost for that particular route is about $209,000 per year. CARTA is evaluating that service as well as the other Enterprise South routes as part of that grant project, and we will report back recommendations to you at a later date. But as a follow-up to the service, to bringing paratransit and regular CARTA service to East Ridge, we developed two proposals which are scalable and expandable as time goes on in the future. And I believe you may have a copy of this. Option one was a combined service plan, which would provide service from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, excepting holidays, and was built upon the demand-responsive program we proposed. We modified that a bit to a two-vehicle service that would circulate within the city limits of East Ridge, offering point-to-point service anywhere within East Ridge with direct connectivity to the CARTA Walmart stop at Eastgate Town Center. And that connection point would then offer 15-minute service on the number 4 route directly to downtown Chattanooga and the entire CARTA network, as well as eastward to Hamilton Place and East Brainerd. There would also be connection to the number 5 North Brainerd neighborhood route, and while it's operating, the number 3 East Ridge Enterprise South route also stops at that location. In combination with that service, CARTA would also offer complete caravan paratransit service for qualifying seniors, 65 and older, and disabled citizens from and to anywhere within East Ridge and to anywhere within the CARTA caravan network. So that would provide service within East Ridge as well as onto Erlanger Hospital, Memorial Hospital, Gun Barrel Road, Northgate, anywhere within that CARTA currently operates caravan service. And those services would be provided to the public at CARTA's normal rates, $1.50 standard fare rate for the bus service, and $2.50 per trip for the caravan service, with discounts on the standard rate for seniors and disabled. That service is proposed to the city of East Ridge at a cost of $260,000 per year. We have been in discussions with the Southeast Tennessee Development District and Mr. Miller and staff about funding opportunities for that. And a letter of intent for a CMAQ grant is coming up next week, which could provide up to 80% of the operating cost of that service over the 3-year period. So that's one option, kind of a long-term scalable option to provide complete transit service to East Ridge.
you may want to mention that this would go predominantly in effect for next fiscal year, because we're under the last year of the CMAQ grant now that we have with CARTA. Just the bus service out there that you see on Ringgold Road. So dual services here, the combined service of both the neighborhood, bus transportation on Ringgold Road and paratransit service together, $260,000 per year. Our cost would be $52,000. We'd be able to obtain approval on the grant, and this would be become effective next summer, July 1st, somewhere July 1st, 2018.
That's correct.
So we're going to be asking you tonight at the regular meeting for authorization to put our letter of intent in for this grant, because we have to have that in on Monday, the 31st, for this grant here. Now Phil will go into the, I'm sorry, Councilman Sewell, you had a question?
I just want to ask on this caravan, say I call you and say I want to go to my doctor somewhere in East Ridge, and then I'd call back for you to come pick me up.
That's correct. So we would request that.
250, say to go, 250 to go back, is that?
That's correct. We would ask you to schedule the trip in advance, and then when your appointment is finished, you would call back and we would circulate the vehicle and pick you back up. So that was proposed as more of a long-term, scalable solution, but we heard loud and clear about your needs for desire of your citizens to have service in the near term, especially for your senior and disabled community. So we're pleased to offer option number 2, which is a standalone paratransit plan, again with service hours Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. except holidays. And this service would be for qualifying disabled and senior eligible customers under Caravan's rules, and offer curb service anywhere within the city of East Ridge to anywhere within the city of East Ridge, as well as anywhere within CARTA's Caravan network. So again, service for disabled and senior, qualifying senior customers, service anywhere such as Erlanger Memorial, Hamilton Place, and so on. The cost to the customer of that service would continue to be the $2.50 per trip. But for East Ridge contribution, we're looking for a subsidy of $7.50 per trip or $15 round trip. So $5 contribution from the customer, $15 per round trip session by East Ridge to provide that service on an ongoing basis for as long as you need it. Yes, sir. So we would track all of the trip data and any originating points within East Ridge. You would get a documented invoice showing each trip. And that would also start the data collection process for us to measure demand. This is a new service, so we have a lot of estimates going on of what we think might happen, but nothing beats having actual real-world data. So that would really inform us in a scalable model to gain data, and then as you look forward and with the potential for other grant opportunities, to make a determination of what you want to see happen in the future.
So there's no set annual fee, it's just per trip.
Yes, sir. And we're working on potential contract language. It would be,
Contract.
yes, it would be just contract based and eligible for termination at your pleasure.
Yes, if this meets with the satisfaction of the council, then we would go ahead and start working on a contractual agreement that we could look at in the upcoming council meeting, possibly August 10th.
And operationally, we're prepared to start this type of service as soon as September 1st, if you so desire.
That would be the caravan.
Yes, sir.
not the caravan.
That's correct. So it would be caravan service only and limited to qualified disabled and senior customers only. There's a more detailed process of Caravan's rules and client policy services. So there are limitations. It is an advanced reservation type system, but most people in that category are able to plan their appointments, and CARTA currently carries about 47,000 Caravan passengers per year. So, our operation system works, and we feel we have the capacity to be able to provide excellent service to East Ridge as well.
What is going to be the eligibility for a senior customer at 65? If he's not handicapped, but disabled or?
Simply age. Yes, just simply age.
Okay.
So on potentially on the agenda for the first August meeting would be the resolution to enter into an agreement with CARTA for the paratransit services only.
For East Ridge, that would start September 1st.
Right.
And the reason I picked up August 10th is August 24th, 2 of you are not going to be up here at the meeting. And then the next 3 meetings, we're losing either 1 or 2 of you until the second meeting. 1, 2, 3, second meeting in October. We're not going to be a full council. I know. We have some travelers.
All right, well, so that is what would be on the agenda for 2 weeks from now.
Yes, sir.
On tonight's agenda is going to be taking action on the CMAC grant, which would be for all of the service, option 1
That would
we saw
begin
tonight.
October 1st of July 1st of 2018.
And that would be just getting our letter of intent in and getting the process started.
We have to get the letter of intent into CMAC by close of business August 31st. I'm sorry, July
August.
31st.
August 1st.
August 1st.
So if we go ahead and approve this next meeting, then we can still go with this other plan too.
Yes.
Yeah, so basically, the thing that we'll look at tonight is to move forward on the grant that would provide the bigger service,
Right.
but it would include the paratransit for next year. Tonight, that's tonight's agenda. Next time, 2 weeks from now, we'll look at the agenda just for the paratransit services that would take effect September 1st going forward.
Exactly right. The 3-year CMAC grant that we have now with CARTA, that expires next summer, 18. That's what we're applying for now, is put our application in now for the funds to become available next July or August of 2018 for the next 3 years. We get the grant, it'll be a 3-year grant that we would be paying based on these figures, $52,000 a year for both the services and paratransit plus the service, the fees that go along with paratransit. Am I correct on that?
The numbers are correct.
They've done a great job putting together these proposals. I mean, they took a pencil to this pretty hard. They really want to provide the service. And I think it's a big bang for the buck that we can get in here on this for the city.
And I appreciate you all for, how long have we been kind of working on it? 4 years? And I remember it's been a while, since those initial meetings back there, so thank you very much. And that's all.
So if we don't qualify for the grant, then we still go with the caravan.
We can still continue the caravan, the paratransit. We can still continue the paratransit, yes, sir. Yes.
All right. Okay, we'll move on to item B, which is Mr. Miller, discussion of hiring a planner / architect to do a master plan for the McBrien School site.
And when I say the McBrien School, I'm saying McBrien School plus all the vacant land that surrounds that facility. There are approximately 7 acres of land, and looking at what kind of uses could be, municipal uses could be integrated together to kind of comprise what is called, we call a town center. Some of the ideas that I've accumulated from my discussions with the city council, with employees, several ideas of my own, I've kind of put them in writing here. And let me go through them briefly. Number 1 would convert McBrien School into a police fire station. When the McBrien School is renovated or demolished with a new building, constructed would be the decision of the council. Relocate the traffic department and streets department from Yale to McBrien School site, as well as the animal control department from Yale to the McBrien School site. Both of those facilities flood quite frequently or periodically during the heavy rain season. And also, Mike Fulson brought up a pavilion with basketball court. I'm looking at that same possibility, building an outside regulation basketball court covered with a pavilion building could have multi-uses as far as farmer's market, special event venues. One idea that I got from down in Atlanta, Coca-Cola headquarters, was their front area, puts in a skating rink every year, put some drains into this construction, that way you can provide an area to flood in the wintertime, water, and have a nice skating rink. The relocating of the police and fire departments to McBrien School and selling that building for commercial use would end up generating a revenue stream that could be appropriated toward the payment of debt for the development of this town center concept. The existing police and fire station would be added to the tax rolls, reduce property taxes, and if it was converted to a retail use, there'd be sales taxes generated from the city on the countywide sales tax, as well as the board and region sales tax. So we would have an annual revenue generated that may not be enough to pay the debt service, but it certainly could be applied to that debt service to be able to make this town center concept come to fruition.
I thought back when we redid the Board of Region District, you come up through here and public station wasn't in it because it was a public station. And then I don't think since then we'll be able to put it back in because that discussion was brought up on another piece of property down here.
It's all in. All of this area is in. McBrien School, police and fire stations, City Hall, it's all in the board of regions.
This wasn't up that.
No, sir.
The camping world down
There were several properties of this direction that we did exclude, but I think this property's campus, including the current police and fire station, stayed in.
Yeah. What I'm looking at is question authorization from the council to hire the services of a professional architect planner for the development of the master plan, where the location of these buildings would go. We also have roadways and parking lots, internal circulation that needs to be figured out. Bring this person on. We could even continue their services and design and construction phases in the buildings and the facilities. But it's a start. I think if we just say, let's do McBrien School and not we could do any others, do a campus effect, town square effect, we'd be losing out on this. I think we want this development to be workable and aesthetically pleasing, one that's functional and that truly can bring people to this downtown area.
I agree, I think we need to hire somebody to at least give us a, one side of what it's gonna be like, what it's gonna cost us. And we've been kicking this thing down the road for quite a number of years now, and I think it's time we do something with it.
I have a copy of the McBrien School in your agenda, the back of the agenda, which basically shows you how much land we do have out there that's vacant that could accommodate the location of these facilities. And still is enough land for the splash pad and the big park, wasteland park.
Well, there's,
This will be on the next agenda for in 2 weeks.
2 weeks to think of questions and kind of digest this a little bit. And, we can take it up again on August 10th.
I think we could get somebody to, kind of give an estimate of what they think the fire department to go for.
Yes,
And work with
yes, yes.
All right. Item C, discussion of a streetscape project for West Ringgold Road. That's you two.
I'm willing you up for the 10th. I want all five of you up here when we're talking about this. West Ringgold Road, I'm talking about specifically the area from John Ross or Belmore west to South Seminole Drive. It's approximately 1.42 miles. I'm proposing that the streetscape project be designed and ultimately constructed to be funded by the Board of Region District sales tax generated within our city. The project would include sidewalks, ADA ramps, utility relocations, street lights and eyesight, curb and gutter, drainage improvements where needed, green space and landscaping where space is available, and street furniture. What I'm asking or requesting approval from the council at this time is to go out and solicit requests for qualifications for consultant engineering services with design engineering, right-of-way acquisitions, construction engineering inspections, the full ball of wax from A to Z. Since there are no state funds or federal funds involved in this project, we do not have to proceed through TDOT's requirements of pre-NEPA and pre-design phases, and we can also use the same engineering firm throughout the process. As everybody is aware, West Ringo Road is showing signs of light. We have businesses in the last year that the last year I've been here, I've seen a lot of them close shop and not reopen. I think we need to do something out there to rejuvenate, regenerate West Ringo Road to bring it back to a viable part of our city. This is one item that I think would be a project that would be well worth the while doing. And I'd like to start it now. We've got exit 1 underway pretty soon, and it's going to take at least a year to go through the design on this. This is a complicated project. There's not a lot of right-of-way. There's areas upon which we cannot put sidewalks on both sides of the street. There are areas up there that need drainage. All this has to be incorporated. This is not a simple project. So it's going to take a year to really get this thing planned. I don't want to go up there and start putting 6 and 10 foot sidewalks up there because we're taking parking away from, valuable parking spaces away from those businesses. I don't want to do that. So it's going to be taking a lot of decision making in regard to the council up here is, how far do we want to go in certain areas. But I'm just asking, I'll be asking for your approval on the August 10th meeting to move forward on the engineering process.
Mayor, has there been any more discussion with Lucan property up on Ringo Road about maybe redesigning some of their stores?
They have talked about doing some significant facade improvements on what would be Osborne Shopping Center. And I've actually seen a rendering that they had of what it would look like if that happened. It would be wonderful. It would be pretty nice. So I'm hopeful, and maybe the city can help in some way with that. But yes, the last time I spoke with them last few times, they indicated an interest in doing something there.
The reason I was asking is if we're going to do some sidewalks up that area, you're talking about parking. If they're going to redesign maybe some of the buildings, setback or such as that, is that we may contact them, tell them kind of what we're wanting to do, see if they're going to do.
But we can work with them on the design. Actually, yes. Whatever engineering firm that we would hire, I'm going to make it requirement that they work with the business owners and property owners who have businesses up there about how we would be able to fit sidewalks in. If this was under a state grant, we'd be looking at 6 to 10 foot sidewalks required. I can't do that. I will get 4 foot sidewalks up there. Since it's our funds, we don't have to follow DOT specifications and requirements to the T. This is not going to be an inexpensive project. I'm estimating the total cost of this, and I'm going out on a limb, $4 to $5 million.
what's left in that money that we've already getting from the Board of Regents? Are we gonna be able to fund this plus the others?
Yes, once I receive the appropriation we get from the state for the 2000 past fiscal year on our Board of Region dollars, last year we received 1.25 million. That give you an idea of how much money I can look in the future. I think all I'm going to see in this year's allocation from the state is going to be a 5 to 7% increase, which represents the sales tax increase that we received on our countywide sales tax from this year. If that's the case, then it's going to take years to be able to build that up. Long run, probably looking at our bonding capacity at 16 to 18 million until 2042. Debt service on that, so that we don't have to be able to subsidize the earlier years from 2022 to 2028, just to be able to have to subsidize, the payments for our debt service. Because all this debt service has to be recorded and approved by the state by June of 2022. With what we have now and adding in let's see, we're probably going out on 3.7, 3.8 million. We're going to have to bond out for Exit 1, bonded out 750,000. That takes us to about 4.5 million. That's where we are now. If we add Ringgold Road West, we may put another 5 million, so that's going to take us to 9 to 10 million. So you can another $6 to $8 million in projects to be able to bond out, to be able to afford paying off all of our debt service in 2023 by the money coming in from the Board of Regents sales tax.
As it exists now.
As it exists now, yes, it's going to grow. It definitely will grow. But you also got to realize too that you got to take into factors. Number one, we've lost about $60,000 to $80,000. We will be losing that in next year's payment because effective July 1st, we lost 20% on the sales tax for food, went from 5 to 4 cents. We get an awful lot from out of our 4 grocery stores. 2 of the large producers are in the Board of Regents district. So we're going to lose a portion of that. And then, of course, whatever the economy does, sooner,
Right. And then with new things
It's
coming
gonna-
online
it's
as
gonna-
well.
it's going to grow.
With
And
Dunkin' Donuts and.
yeah, that's going to add into it too. And we've got some very large projects that we are discussing with potential developers. And if they do come to fruition, we're going to see a major increase in that Board of Regents sales tax.
I just go by what you and I discussed today.
Right.
The figures you give me and what we had left.
Right now, that's what we have left. If we were to not grow at all, when I'm talking about growing, I'm talking about taking property. If we were to get a large developer coming in to the Lucan property, a large developer coming in on any vacant property or property that is vacant and rejuvenating it, rehabilitating or building new, that's in the Board of Regents, that gets involved with sales tax, we're going to see that enhancement go up significantly, other than just the increase, 5% increase or so, that the cost of living brings on a sales tax increase year to year.
Have you talked also about going out Germantown?
If we were to add, well, it's a matter, I mean, if you're going to add, we certainly would like to do resurfacing and reconstruction of Germantown Road, Moore Road, both of those are in the Board of Regents district. Possibly looking at a pedestrian crossing over Ringgold Road and Exit 1, I-75, to connect one side to the other. Beautification hasn't been figured in at Exit 1. So those all have a price tag. Camp Jordan, enhancements to that park, So there's a lot of projects. I'm bringing to you what ones I've been talking with most of you about, I think are the important ones that we need to move now to be able to get them constructed. If we were to do West Ringgold Road, we're not going to see the efforts that completed probably until 2020. We're talking about a year design, a year or so, 6 months or so to go out to bid and get everything refined, and then possibly 6 months to a year, 6 to 8 months or so in construction. That's if it moves progressively forward.
I do think this conversation brings up a good point in terms of street resurfacing. Maybe we should really focus our efforts in terms of what we resurface to roads. I mean, unless there's just a dire need outside the Board Region District, maybe over the next 4 years, 5 years, we look at those roads that are in the district that we can then turn around and claim as eligible cost.
Right. You also got to remember too, you start looking at doing Germantown and Moore Road. It's nice to do that, but they're not going to be generating any dollars. Ringgold Road will.
Would we be able to utilize any of the fuel tax, new fuel tax for some of this streetscaping and resurfacing? Where's that?
You're only going to bring in, I don't have a handle on what that annual is going to come. We'll get that increase is going to bring us in. It's what TML has estimated between $127,000 and $130,000, somewhere around there. This year we're looking at $600,000 or $700,000 for road resurfacing, and we've got residential roads in the city that are heavily traveled, and especially our collector roads and some of our arterial roads that need to be resurfaced. $600,000 to $700,000 does not do a lot of roads, unfortunately. I understand. That's why it's very important to keep that annual program moving.
All right. Well, again, we have 2 weeks to think about this, and we'll have opportunity to discuss further if need be on August 10th. For this meeting, Mr. Cagle, do you have anything for us? Mr. Sewell? Mr. Williams? Ms. Hill? All right. Well, I do not have anything either. So with that, we will bring the agenda work session to a close. We'll take a 2-minute break to reset camera and recording devices and begin again momentarily. This meeting is adjourned.